Hi, I'm Lisa. You know, on Let's Learn to Get Along, we talk about life's daily issues. Issues that we learn together on how to deal with them, overcome them, and to prepare for what is next. You know, we've come a long ways, but yet we have a long ways to go. Many of you have opened your hearts and minds, and I'm very proud to be a part of you. Also, we learn together honesty and dealing with reality helps us grow in a positive manner. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I get a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when there's a guest in the house. Gentlemen, look at this beautiful young lady.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, wait a minute, who are you?
My name's Deanna Reiter, and I'm an author and public speaker and a breathing coach.
As beautiful as you are, you got gifts and talents?
Believe it or not.
But wait a minute, most beautiful young ladies, all they use is, watch them out. So you got, wait a minute, tell us again, what do you do?
All right, I have written a few books, The 9 Scoundrels, Releasing Patterns of Sabotage, and Dancing with Divinity, Positive Affirmations for Any Situation. And then I'm also a public speaker and a breathing coach. And so the breathing coach aspect of it is I help people to breathe in a very connected circular rhythm, similar to what's taught in meditation, but a very active breathing that can really help people to get to a very deep level where the brainwave states go lower, and you can really get a lot of insights and a lot of healing, really cool things that can happen with it. So I've been quite honored to have done this sort of work. I've been in positive development for more than a decade, and I love it. I'm really having a lot of fun with it.
No, wait a minute, you said more than a decade. Well, you look like you're about 23 years old.
Well, thank you. Much older, much older.
But you don't look it nor act it.
Thank you, Lisa.
You know what, hon? We have a lot of people talking about they do this and they do that. But just to look at you, would be judging a book by its cover, would say, wait a minute, that's just a little pretty model or something. But you're gifted with more than one thing that you're doing with your life and helping others.
Right.
And that's why I tell people you can't judge a book by its cover.
That's right, ever. We tend to, when we meet people, we can do two things. One is judgment, and one is to have compassion. And so it's really either finding what's keeping us separate or what can bring us together. And so those are the two things. And we can go from a place of ego or go from a heart-centered place. And so that can be really something very fun to play around with every time we meet someone, is how do we want to approach it? And sometimes you can just watch your mind too and see, you know, if there's some comments. Sometimes we just have some critical comments when we meet someone, and to just be aware of that and let that go and realize that we're not our thoughts. We have more than 50,000 thoughts running through our mind all the time, and so some of them are not thoughts we'd want broadcasted on live TV, right? But anyway, but some of them are marvelous thoughts too.
Yes.
And when we can really get conscious and slow things down and come from a place where we're not in fear, you know, where the ego isn't running the show. And that can be marvelous place to be, where we're not always fighting, we're not attacking, where we can just observe and see what's happening on a deeper level. And that's kind of the beauty of it. You know, when I'm coaching people with breathing, you know, we're moving out of that left side of the brain, the logical side, where the ego is, you know, kind of believed to be
But
housed.
wait a minute, a lot of people don't know about the right and left side and the egos. What do you
Well, so we've got two sides of our brain,
Okay.
right? And there's this left side logical side of the brain, which is really great for helping us do math problems or figure out our taxes or, you know, something like that. And then we've got our right side, the creative, artistic side. And they've found that, I mean, I guess it's said, you can believe whatever you want to believe,
Right.
that the ego, which is kind of our, it is a gauge for us that runs off of fear. And long ago, when we were living in, the wild and the saber-toothed tiger days and whatnot, we needed that ego to really
self-preservation.
Right, self-preservation
ourselves.
to keep us very safe.
Right.
And so it did a great job at that usually, and it keeps a good job for us in general. But there aren't that many situations that are life or death now for us. I mean, there's certainly, we could step out on the street and a car can come, right?
Yeah.
So there are these situations, but I think for the most part, we can let that quiet down a little bit and have the opportunity to move to the right side of the brain, that artistic, creative side, that where we have more of a heart-centered view of things and perspective. And from that, when we can move in the world with that energy, it's nice. It's a good place to be. That's where we can find peace, where we can be happier.
We
I was
need
thinking,
happiness.
Right, we do, because there are a lot of people who are maybe not enjoying where they live. They don't enjoy the job that they have. They're, unhappy in this or that situation, and it might not be super easy to get out of it. And so we have to look at, okay, what are the things that do make us really happy? What are the things that we really love, that we're really passionate about, that bring us so much joy? And those are the things that we need to focus on, I think, in general. I had a client of mine a few weeks ago. She came in, she sat down, and she said, she started right away her conversation with, I meditated a little bit, did a little yoga, not as much as I wanted to. She led right with that statement. And I said, okay, did you do it once? And she said, oh yeah, more than once, maybe
right.
several times. And I said, okay, well that's it. Then take the benefits from that. Why does it have to be an everyday thing, or 30 minutes or 60 minutes a day, or whatever? I think if we're just doing these things, it could be once a year for 5 minutes, and maybe that's all the fuel we need.
Or your mind needs for that time.
Right. I mean, I think if we just check in very deeply to our own body and listen very carefully and really check in with our intuition, our bodies always know, this is what I want, this is what makes me happy, and to do more of that. And so I think, we've been so programmed and so taught to do more and strive for this and that and all of this, and wear ourselves out, and to have guilt when we're not doing what we think we're supposed to be doing, and all of this. But I think that's something that we can really let go of, and it'd be really great if we let go of it. If you blow an afternoon by just sitting outside watching the clouds, that might be the absolute most perfect way you could spend the afternoon. So
and you need it for that day.
Right.
And that should help you in many ways in a positive instead of the negative.
Right.
We got too much negative.
So really checking in that deeply on, nature's wonderful for bringing us back and connecting us to our truest self. And so that we can find that passion, we can really be in that peace and happiness. And, we might think like, I need to dust, or do this errand, or call this person, or whatever. And maybe we do, but maybe we don't even need to do that. Sometimes the best thing for us is probably doing almost nothing at all.
But not every day, but just once in a while,
not every day,
something
but
to yourself.
Yeah,
it's like revitalizing your inner being. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Exactly. And if we think like, why are we really here? Why are we in this body? Why are we on this planet in this situation? Why are we here? If we check in really deeply, I'm not sure we're here to be in a 40-hour work week, but maybe, or 50 or 30 or whatever, maybe.
I don't think so.
But I don't think, for me, it didn't work. So,
me
I figured out how to shift it and change it to work better for me. But, I think we all probably work 40 hours at whatever we're doing, right? However that looks. But anyway, I think that we need to look beyond what we grew up with and what our culture is teaching us that, oh, we should do this or that, and just check in, like, what is it that what really fuels us? What do we really want to be doing? And pay some more attention to that.
And do it. See,
it.
that's another thing you got me thinking about. When we're infants, we're learning to walk. We take a few steps, we fall down. We're harder and stubborn. So I'm getting back up and get to walking again and fall down and get up and walk again until we learn to walk.
Yes.
Well, to me personally, anything in life where I have to make a change, to me it's like learning to walk again.
Right.
I start practicing it and practicing, and I mess up a little bit and keep on trying.
Right. Right.
Because I can't give up that easy, especially if it's something that's going to help me feel better.
Right.
And do better with me.
And as adults, it's so easy when we're trying something new. We expect it to be perfect and to be at this really top level of it. But it's exactly walking. I have my youngest child is 4 years old, and so it's not that long, 3 years ago, where he started to learn how to walk, and that was a great thing to see, and it's fun to watch him do anything, for the first time. And he doesn't have that filter of like, oh, I'm awful at this, I can't do this. He has a filter of, this is fun, I'm learning, I'm playing, and he'll make as many mistakes as it takes. And that could happen for years, and he goes with it. It's just gentle and easy and fun.
Yes.
And let me just, sorry to interrupt you, but I do want to add this in. I recently read this and I thought it was so cool. That children laugh between 100 and 300 times a day.
Whoa!
Right? And that adults is about 20 to 100. So we're at least a third, if not maybe 10 times less than children are laughing. So I think that's so interesting. And I love listening to my son as he's playing, he's laughing all the time. And he's got sometimes these deepest belly laughs. He's so happy. He's so excited to wake up in the morning, so excited with whatever we're going to do. And he's so present. And I think, I just love watching this year after year. And I wonder, how long can we keep this going? And I want it to just go forever, ideally.
Right.
And I find that with me, watching him and being in his presence, I laugh more often.
That's right.
I'm more present. I'm playing more.
Yes.
I'm having more fun. And I think if we can remember back to childhood and even spend some time around children, just when we go to the park, just take a look at the playground and see what the kids are doing. If we can have some more of that aspect in our life, that is gold. That's where we want to be at.
And I agree with you because, see, this is something. I'm hoarse right now. I've been hoarse for several weeks because I'm happy. As long as I'm not in that environment where the negativity is, where I'm renting, honey, outside of that, I'm clowning. I got people laughing, having fun, bringing smiles to the faces, and my joy to our hearts.
Nice.
And you know what? A lot of people go, you are happy. And,
are they surprised?
No, it's not just me, but they're saying basically is they're not.
Right. I mean, how many adults do you know that are just on fire for life and ready to go and wake up every morning with, yay, this is going to be a great day. Whew, I try to do that every morning, just wake up. I've got this poster that I look at on my wall, and when I see that, that's my reminder for those words. This is going to be a great day.
Yes.
And I've heard recently that, I don't know which culture it is or what people believe this, but they take each day as a life. Like an aspect, kind of an analogy, I guess.
Right.
What if this is one life into itself, this one day? And what are we going to do with that day, that life? What joy and what fun and what adventure can we have? And so we might be in situations where maybe they're not so much fun. Maybe we're not in the best relationships, living in the best places, the best jobs, whatever. But what aspects can we still draw into that?
Thank you.
To make it more fun. Sometimes we just have to change perspective of it.
Yes.
So, You know, when we think about, oh, I only did, I only meditated once or did yoga once this year or whatever the thing is that you
Right.
love. I only went to the park, went on this walk once or, whatever it is. Okay. So instead of focusing on that, focusing on, okay, this one time when I went to the park, when I looked at the clouds, whatever it is, and let that fuel us.
Yes.
And just the same, one aspect of our day, of our job, of where we live, of whatever it might be, if we can find one aspect of another person, of one situation, we find that beautiful positive aspect,
Yes.
and we take that and we focus on that. We spotlight it. Instead of spotlighting all of the
Negative,
bad,
crazy.
the negative, right.
Excuse me.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we can find joy. We find a little joy and we build more and more and more. And the flip side of that, we can do that too. We can take a little bit of, something we don't like and we can blow it up and we can be very miserable very
Yes.
quickly.
Oh, gosh.
So it's really just when we get to whatever place, when we can get conscious and stop and slow down and then take a look and look deeply. And sometimes it's just feeling it within your body. So back in my 20s, I was a long distance runner. I ran Division I in college.
Wow.
And then I went out to California. I won a marathon and some other races. And that's kind of where I wrapped up my career. I said, all right, I feel like that's the pinnacle. I won a marathon and now let's start coaching other people.
All
and
right.
sharing this joy that I got so much out of it.
Wow.
And I learned, that was, really how I got into a positive mindset, was through my coaches in high school.
Really?
Of showing us that, no matter what, sometimes we did stupid things as high schoolers, and maybe it was not the smartest thing that we ate the night before, or we just did 500 push-ups before a race, or whatever thing
Right.
we might have done. Didn't get any sleep or what have you. And our coach would say, that's fine, use it. Use it to your full advantage. Wow. You're going to have a great race. You can do this. You're awesome. And they just went on and on and on with that.
Good.
And it worked. It took me a while. I was junior varsity pretty much all throughout high school, even though I focused on it so much. I poured my heart and soul into it, and I never really got to the level that I wanted to get at. And I took a couple of years off of running when I got to college. And I just, I kind of took a break.
Okay.
And then I ended up, when I started running again, I started running for just the love of it, for just being outside, just moving my body, having my breath flowing, getting the fresh air, all of that. And then I ended up getting recruited to be on my college team.
Wow.
So, and I think I needed to take that big step
That
back
break.
and let go of the ego and the identity of it, and to find the passion and the beauty and the heart focus of it all again. And then that's when it opened up for me. And so, sometimes we need to take that step back. But I'll tell you, Lisa, I lived my life for a long time just like that, where it was every second of the day counted, and I was, go, 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 go. And I really ran myself pretty ragged from that. And then, I started doing yoga and learning to slow down. And I was the person, I did this. At the end of yoga, they usually have 5-10 minutes of just kind of quiet time where
Right.
people usually just lay there. I would roll up my mat and walk out. Because I thought, what a big waste of time. I had this motto, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And there's just, I don't, this is a waste of time. I figured I could go to the bar and have a drink with my friends
Oh, no.
10 minutes sooner. Right? So I did this on and
Uh-oh.
on. Well, one day I was in the locker room and I didn't get out fast enough. My teacher came in.
Good.
And she said, Deanna, this is the most important 10 minutes of your entire day, of this entire class. You need to be here. You need to slow down. And so that's where I said, okay, next class, I'll do it. I was called out on it and I said, all right, I'm going to do this. And so from then on, I did it. And I'll tell you, I was pretty miserable with it because I never stopped. and now it was forced. It was like a forced quit.
Right.
Right? And I didn't want to do it at all. And finally I said, okay, all right, I'm going to do this.
All right.
And I'm going to do it 100%. And so it took me a while to, and finally, I think a few weeks in, I got to the place where I was like, oh, this is kind of nice.
You tried it.
Right, I tried it over and over because
Yes.
it wasn't something that was easy for me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Southern California too, where the
Oh,
energy
girl,
is,
wild.
right, wild
Yeah,
and free.
I was there.
Right. So anyway, so it was a whole shift. But I think ultimately when we can all come to that place, and sometimes it's forced upon
Yeah.
us. We get sick or we lose a job or whatever where it's this downtime. But if we can make that choice on our own, to have the afternoon of I'm just going to look at the clouds, or sometimes it's a rainy day or whatever it might be, when we have that, and then we can shift the perspective. We can slow down, we can start to observe the thoughts, and that's where everything can change.
I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about myself and many other persons who doesn't really know how to calm down, relax. Everything's zoom, 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 zoom.
Right.
Do this here, do that there, do this here. Hey, they're hollering at me there. They're hollering, the phone's ringing. Zoom.
Right. And it can be that way from the time we get up with an alarm,
Oh, God.
time we go to sleep, nonstop. One of the first things that I did, Lisa, aside from that, being forced to stay for the final relaxation in yoga, sometimes when I got home from work, I'd turn off my car, I'd park the car, and I would just sit there in the car. And it might be a minute, it might be 5 minutes. Sometimes I fell asleep in the car, before I went inside. Because I knew if when I set foot inside my home, I would go. And at that time, I didn't have kids. I didn't have a whole family and a husband and everything that was, Mom, I need this and that, and all of this needs. It was still just my own, okay, I need to make dinner. I need to wash dishes and take care of this for tomorrow, and on and on. So I again just had that, just a few minutes, just those moments where you can just stop and take a few deep breaths and then transition to the next thing. I think that time between the kind of your end of the day, whatever that might be, end of work day or whatnot, before you move into the next phase, some of those can be some of the best times ever to just get that kind of time out, that downtime.
It's like a healing within yourself. And it's not a thing of a long length of time. Sometimes it only takes a few minutes to get that peace of mind for yourself, a moment.
Just a moment. You know how they say, take 10 deep breaths before you say anything when you're really angry, right?
Yes.
Right. So I agree with that. Sometimes maybe it's just one breath, just one breath, or two or three.
Gosh.
Maybe you have time for 10. I often tell people, if you are bothered throughout the day and you don't have a moment of free time, then go to the bathroom.
Take it.
Where you can just close the door and just have a few moments where you can, close your eyes for a moment, breathe, and just check in. Sometimes the bathroom can be a good check-in time.
You're right, because it's alone.
Right, because it's alone.
Right.
And you're not engaged in, being with other people and what are you going to say next and all of those things. So I think that downtime is just, it's so important. It's precious to us. And that's where we can move forward with just the peace and the happiness that we were meant to be here with.
Time flies when you're having fun. I got to give you a minute to leave us with something to remember you by. How's that?
All right. Well, I would say the biggest thing that we can do for ourselves is to focus on the great things that are already in our lives, the great things that we're doing, to find those passions and to nurture those, and not look at all the things we're not doing or the things we don't have or any of those, but instead to just remember those really beautiful, simple, lovely things, lovely aspects of ourselves and the world around us, and to focus on that. And I think that can make all the difference.
That's really deep. And I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about myself. I'm always zipping and zooming and zooming and zimming and bending and doing everything, but I don't get that quality time that much anymore. But every now and then, I think, if it's just driving in my car, listening to some quality music, that's peaceful for me. That's feeding me that energy.
Right.
Or just looking up at the sky and the colors of, the hues that God shares with us. Or it looks like he takes his paintbrush and paints pictures in the sky for me to look at. That's a little peace. So many of us need to learn that it's okay to take those couple of minutes to ourselves.
Right.
Even though we got children running around, husbands, boyfriends, or grandmas and mamas and daddies, you need those couple of seconds or that 5 minutes and realize you got that to give you more strength to go to the next task.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it that way. That's the way you're sharing it with me. That's how I'm seeing it. And I need more of that.
Yes, we all do.
We
all do. And it can just be this little moment. It doesn't, I think we think it has to be this big, long, like the whole day was perfect. It was my most beautiful day ever. No, there might have been some really not so fun aspects in the day, but we look at those beautiful moments of joy.
Yes.
That's where we can weave it throughout our whole lives.
And it's beautiful. Darn, I gotta close with the book already.
All right.
Time flies when you're having fun, and I really enjoyed this afternoon with you. We need that. We need more positivity.
Absolutely.
I'm tired of the negativity. Everywhere you look, that old tacky butt devil trying to get in. He's boring. He doesn't come up with nothing new. He has you sitting around moping and crying. Nobody loves me, cares about me. I can't do. Who's got time for that hogwash? Honey, start realizing you have the greatest love in the universe, and if somebody's trying to bring you down, make you miserable like them, you don't need to be with them. Learn other ways to lift your spirit, to grow, to heal, to learn, to love, to share. The book. You can't judge a book by its cover. You think you know its contents. Without opening, you can't really discover. The outside may appear different, unique, or shady. I can appear to be a man or a lady. Inside may have a high level of intelligence beyond your dreams. Until you open it, it can be whatever it seems. Inside may be mystifying, erotic, or shy. So on the outside versus the inside might be a lie. So before you judge this book, open it up and take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how old we get, we each need to stop, stand up outside of our bodies, and realize, I'm part human too. Let's do what's right and learn to grow, to share, to care, and love together as humans. We need each other. Let's do the goodness and the right. Please, open your hearts and minds, and let's learn to get along. Peace.
This life